Hi, welcome to one more webinar from Telerik. We normally conduct these webinars almost every Thursday of the month, at 3 to 4 p.m. We hope Thursdays 3 to 4, you will be able to take a 1 hour out of your busy schedule and then get a dose of technology. This particular webinar series is all about talking about the Telerik technologies as well as the general, .NET or JSP or PHP or whatever. Technology related things. Today the webinar topic is Telerik platform overview and in specific Telerik Backend Services. So we're going to look at what Telerik Backend Service is all about and how do you work with Telerik Backend Service. That's the prime goal of this. So without much further ado, a little bit about myself. If you have been a regular to our webinars, you would have known myself. You would have known about me by now. My name is Lohit G and I work as a developer evangelist with Telerik in India. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in the area of ASP.NET and IIS. My official email ID is on the slide deck. It's lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com. If you are on Twitter, you can tweet to me at the handle @Kashyapa. So that's my handle. So some of the blog roles that you should be looking into: Telerik.com. Kashyapas.com is my personal blog where I keep writing mostly on ASP.NET and things around it. TelerikHelper.net is a website that myself, my colleague Dalanjay Kumar, and then our country manager Abhishek Kant, we keep writing things about how to do a specific thing in Telerik. So that's why it's known as TelerikHelper.net. We try to help you out with blog posts of how to or specific things on Telerik technologies. So let's directly jump into today's topic. So what are Telerik Backend Services, right? So in a very simplistic manner, it's nothing but a set of cloud-based services. There's when I say cloud-based services, everything is on the cloud. So and then we are giving you a service for that. And what does it mean to you? It's a faster, easier, and it helps you to write scalable apps, faster, and then it helps you to write scalable apps easier. And your development itself is faster and then easier if you go with our Telerik Backend Services. So the Telerik Backend Services in specific provides you with data storage, user management, server code execution, and most of our Telerik products are already integrated with our cloud storage provider. So this is basically, as the name says, backend. Any application that you take, you need a data storage, data store, right? So normally typical examples for data stores are your RDBMS like SQL Server or Oracle, or NoSQL, data sources like MySQL or CouchDB or whatever. But all application would need, if it's a data intensive or if you want to maintain some amount of data, the application would need a data store, and you would store your data in that data store. Now if you take a typical application development, especially in a mobile world, or even in a ASP.NET application or a Windows application, what happens is, if it's a centralized server, like for example you hosted it on your web server, so you need to install your data store. For example, go ahead, download SQL Server, install SQL Server, and then how do you connect with that particular data, right? Let's take the example of a mobile application. Now I have a mobile app which is running in my device, but now I want to connect to my data, but the data is kept on a server, right? The data store, the SQL Server, is installed on a server, and it's behind whatever firewall, this everything. So now I have to connect to that through my app. So what do you do? So what you will typically do is you will create a service, some sort of web service. It doesn't matter if it is WCF, it doesn't matter if it is web API or Java service, or it doesn't matter. From a high level perspective, you will always write a service, because service is your gateway to outside world, meaning your device can then ping the service and say, hey, and it can execute HTTP based requests like, hey, get me that particular resource, and then your service will return all the data that is required, maybe like get all contacts, and it will return all the contacts from your database, and then the app will be able to work with the data, and then when it has to save, it will again say, hey, here is the data, go ahead and save. It will do again a HTTP post to the service. So typically, if you take this kind of scenario, who's going to put the database? Who's going to write the service, right? It's you. It's like you will wait for your IT to actually commission you a particular server with a SQL server installed on it. Then you will come in, you will create your schema, you will say create database and then create tables, everything. And then you will have a team which will sit and write a web service. That web service is hosted on a web server, and the web server gets connected to the data store, and then you have an application team which is building the front end, maybe a mobile application or a web application or whatever it is. So that team then piggybacks on the service. They will ask for, okay, service team, what is the URL, how should I ping it, and all those things. So the point I'm trying to make is it takes a lot of things for you to actually just get your data store ready, your data ready, and then a service ready to consume that, right? So I'm going to show you how you can eliminate pretty much all those stuff. So basically, Telerik Backend Service is nothing but a database on the cloud. And once you create your table, we automatically provide you the service. You do not have to write it. So that's why I say, like, Telerik Backend Service is one of the cloud-based services that we have. We have a set of cloud-based services, and then Backend Service is one of them. Faster, easier, scalable apps with this, because you do not have to do anything except create an account, come in and say, I want to create this particular schema, and that's it. You will get your service instantaneously. I will show you that. Of course, data storage is provided, and also one of the critical things of any application, user management. We automatically out of the box provide you a user management system wherein you just have to start writing code like register a user. Here is the username, password, email, whatever custom the columns that you need, and that's it. And your user registration is done, and I'll show you that. I'll actually live code a user registration and then user login, and then I'll show you how easy it is to do that. Plus server code execution. What if you want to do some amount of server code execution on the server side? Yes, you can do that. We will provide you a mechanism to write a JavaScript just before CRUD, meaning create, read, update, delete, and then you can write your cloud code there. And most of our products are integrated with this storage. So some of the features that we provide as part of the Telerik backend service is, all these things: user management with Facebook, Google, Microsoft Live ID, and Twitter, registering users, authenticating users, all those things, retrieving users, all those things are available as part of the SDK. The files, so you can store files for your apps in the cloud. We have SDKs, and that will help your job to kind of ease out. But the thing is, you do not have to go separate. If you take the Windows Azure, you have different things there. You have SQL Azure, you have blob storage. For example, the files are all going into the blob storage or the table storage. So that means your website is in the portal. You will have a website, kind of screen, and then you have the blob storage as a separate thing. So you are maintaining two different things. So here in our backend storage, we will just give you a simple interface to manage your users, manage your files, and also, of course, data. That's the main point of your app, right? You have custom data types that you want to create for your application. Yes, we will let you create your custom types. Cloud code, as I said, you can execute custom JavaScript code on the cloud. GeoPoints, you can actually store a lat long as a GeoPoint field itself. You don't have to worry about anything. Just say that the field type is a GeoPoint, and then we understand that, oh, this is a lat long. We'll help you. So we'll let you store that. Security, all data secured through permissions. You are in control of who can read what data. Like, for example, you have created a custom table or custom schema, right? We call it as content type in terms of the Telerik backend. When you create a custom content, you can actually say who can read it, who can write it, who can delete it. Basically the CRUD on that particular thing. Another interesting feature that we provide is email templates. You can create a template and then just send email of this particular template at runtime. You just can say, like, we have the SDK methods where you just say send email or send mail, and then say, okay, this is the template, and then this is the data for the template. So template will have placeholders like from, to, reply to, message, or all those things, the message text, all those things. So we provide you that. You just create email templates for whatever situation you have. Just give them a name, and then you can just at runtime say send mail this template. Here is the data for the placeholders, and that's it. and also push notification. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get to push notification email templates, but I'll try to show you in brief what all things we can do. So as you know, push notification is to send push notifications to all mobile platforms. We make it easy. You just come into your backend and say send a push now, a new message now as a push. So we will just push it to all your devices which are using your app. If your app is on Android or iOS, will push accordingly to all these things. From a development perspective, let me just bring in one interesting perspective here. So before I jump into the portal, but I just want to show you, this is a nice little things that we have done. For example, these are the platforms that we support for development. We have .NET SDK, we have hybrid mobile application and web application SDK, which is nothing but a JavaScript SDK. Then we have SDK for Windows Phone 8. We have SDK for iOS and then Android. So let's say you want to do programming or consume the backend, Telerik backend from a .NET application. So all you need to do is download our SDK here, come here and then download the SDK. And then once you download, I'll show you how to get these keys. Just bear with me for a moment. So basically we need you to put your API key, and then that's it. You start working with like this, login. Here's the username and password, and then get all the data. So we support async await pattern. When it comes to JavaScript SDK, it's again as simple as that. Just include our the JavaScript file, and then you just instantiate our object, provide the key, and then just say el.users, or if you want to actually go ahead and then get your custom content, I'll show you how to get that. Similarly, we have Windows Phone. In the Windows Phone also is pretty much similar. Like you just create the application, provide the API key. I will tell you what that API key is all about, and then you just say get all, execute async or execute sync, all those things. So we provide you all those capabilities. So now, having known about this, let me show you what this platform is all about, right? So first thing that you need to do is just go into platform.telerik.com. Yeah, there's a question how to generate the key. I'm just coming there. I'll just show you what needs to be done. So basically, now I already have the platform. The credentials for the platform. I already created a user ID password for our platform. So if you go into this platform.telerik.com site for the first time, it will actually show you a login screen, and then you can then go ahead and then create your credentials and login. By the way, if you create a new login, like new credential, we have something known as starter tier. Basically, this is about there are 4 services that Telerik platform provides. I'll show you that. So you will, as a starter edition or a starter tier, you will be able to create 2 projects under each services, and then it's a lifetime free, and then you will have 5 people who can collaborate with you on your project. So backend, you can create 2 backends. Application building, that is a IDE for our mobile application, hybrid mobile application development. You can create 2 apps with that, and then we also have analytics, which will give you insights into your app. So you can create 2 analytics projects, and then we have mobile testing, so you can create 2 mobile testing. So that's completely free for life. That's actually a lot of bandwidth, and then a lot of backend storage, and then the back and forth HTTP requests, everything. So it's all free. So I'll show you where you can create that. So let's assume you created your credential at platform.telerik.com, and when you log in, this is what you will see. I already have 3 workspaces, so don't get confused because I already playing around, so it's already created for you. When you come in, you will only have this Friends app as a workspace. So workspace is a way of kind of in a way it's a project. You're kind of creating a new project scenario. So we just named it as workspace because in each workspace you can create n number of service-based projects. For example, let me show you this platform demo. This is something we did on March 6th. We had another webinar. So as you can see here, once you create a workspace, give it some name, and then get inside the workspace, this is what you see. You have analytics, you have the testing, and then this is the app builder. That is, you can build hybrid mobile applications, and this is the backend. As you can see, the icon is aptly kept as a database, right? Because this is a backend. So, and then this is another project, another application. Like I can create n number of mobile apps using maybe the same backend, or I can create that many backends for that many applications. So this, all you need to do is just click on create project. So it will ask you, okay, what do you want to create? If you see here, there is app builder project, and then there's a backend services project, there's an analytics project, there's a mobile testing project. So that's why we have named the first initial segmentation as workspace. So create your workspace. So I've created my workspace as a platform demo. Let me go ahead and then create maybe a new one. So I will say workspace name is Telerik Backend Demo Workspace. So just some name. Then I will say create a workspace. So what this will do is it's going to create this workspace and then say, hey, you know what? All the 4 services that you need, there's nothing now because this is empty. We just started, right? So now what I can do is I can get into my backend services, and then I can click on create a backend service project. So it says, what do you want to do? Do you want to start from a sample social app? Remember I talked about friends app. So that's the sample social app. It's basically you can have your friends signing up to your app, and then you and your friends can share activities, share things like posts or updates, pretty similar to what Facebook is all about, but at a very close circle level. But I can say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to start from scratch. So I'm going to call this as to-do app or to-do backend. So idea is to create a to-do, the classic to-do list. So I will say the description is also to-do backend. I'll say create project. So now what you're seeing is you actually are creating a database now. So this is what this does. The Telerik backend project that we created is actually a database. So now when the database is created, it comes with so many things. I'll show you what are those things. Remember I talked about database, files, bandwidth, request, emails, push. So let me expand this. I think I need to get my zoom it. So let me get my zoom it. Zoom it is an small application that we use for zooming in the screens. Okay, I think I have my zoom it. Yes. So once the Telerik backend project is created, so this is what you see. The types, these are the custom data types or custom content types as we call. So files, it's already there. Users, it's already there. Roles, you can come in and just start creating roles. The push notification, and then if the devices that gets, if you have enabled push, so we need to know what are the devices that have, are using or have downloaded your app and then using it, so that we can send a push. So once you have implemented the push, we will be able to showcase, or you will be able to see what devices are kind of using my application. And then emails, I talked about the email templates, and then logs, and then of course some of the settings for this backend. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one by one. Remember I talked about an API key. So whenever you have a client application and then that client application wants to communicate with your backend, you will need to have this particular API key. So somebody was asking for how to generate an API key. We generate it for you. So you got to be careful with this. And then there is a bypass key. I don't want to show you that. That's my master key, so that I can just come in and then say use that master key and then bypass all the security whatever clients have done. So I can just come in and say, okay, I want to change some things in terms of permission, like who reads or writes and all those things. I can say do not allow anybody even with the API key. So I can just block everybody. So that's the master key. So that's like the super master key. So that's about the API key. See, this is something you need. So I'm going to copy this and then keep it in my clipboard. And then types. So types is nothing but assume you want to create your own custom table. As you can see here, we call it as content type. So that's the terminology we use. There's no content type as of now. That's true, because I just created There's a question, do we need to generate both the keys? You do not, as I said, you don't generate the keys. It's already done by the backend service. I did not show you the master key because, somebody can screen scrape my screen and then take my master key, and then maybe they can do something. So if they have API key, that's fine. I can block any client which is coming even with an API key. So that's why I'm not clicking on this master key, but you need the master key to bypass any security. These two have been already generated by the Telerik backend platform. You do not generate that, it's already there. So coming back to the types, it's like custom table that you want to create. So I'm already at 3:30 mark, so I'm going to go a little bit faster now. So create content type, whereas files, users, roles, these are already tables which have been created for you. So we'll come back to them one by one. Or let's first take a look at the files. So if you see files, so I can just come in here and then say, like, as of now, I don't have any files. So I can just come in here and say upload files. You will see that, on the right hand side, it's saying, hey, you know what, drag and drop, and then or select the files here. If you see here, I can upload a file directly from my portal. So let's say I want to select a file. So I'm going to go to pictures, and then I'm part of B.NET. So let me take this B.NET logo and try to put it there. So if you can see here, I'll save it. There you go. So what the point I'm trying to make is, yes, this can be done even from a client side also. So I will see if I can get to that particular stage. But in the portal itself, you can do many things, and then somebody can now read it. All those things. We'll come back to the types, and then you will see how you can do all the relationship, all those things. So now coming back to the users. As of now, out of the box, you already have a table called users with a bare minimum columns that you need: the username, the display name, the password, all those things, email address, everything has been already put, and then you can actually directly consume this. So I'm going to build a front end now, which is where I will let user register. I will let him log in and then start creating his to-do items. Okay, so if you see here, I don't have anything. You can actually look at structure. So if you look at let me show this. So on the top, you have 4 things. So for this user type, for a layman, a table. Okay, let's call it as a table for layman. So the user table, I can actually browse the data, or I can see the structure, or I can write cloud code against that particular table. And also I can set permission on that table. Okay, so now I'm showing you the structure. So if you look at the structure, I don't know if I can show everything. So if you look at the structure itself, we create ID, created at, modified at, created by, and see this association that is there. So it's basically it's a relation to, it's a self join kind of thing, like which says created by an user, modified by the owner. Of course, the password, the username, display name, email, the role that you want, and then identity. Easy using any like Facebook, Google, and all those things is verified, verification code. So I will show you that when I create it will automatically send registration emails. It will automatically send the password reset when somebody comes and then says, okay, I want to reset password and all those things. So that's email is already built in. So if you look at the roles, I haven't defined any roles because I just want to show you, you can do many things here. So there's only one role which is registered, but I can come back here and then add a new role. For example, if they say, if you look at here, I can just create a new item now. You see here, I can just create a new item right in the portal and then just come back here and then do that. So this is the push notification wherein you will have to write a little bit of piece of code on your mobile apps. So the push is only for the mobile apps. You cannot push something onto a web application. But this is like, you just add a push notification, and then if you see here, you can just create a message. Do you want to send to everyone now or specific? Should it expire? If the phone is switched off, we'll try to send the notification. When the phone is switched on, the notification will be displayed until it has expired. So like I can send don't expire, so that every time somebody shuts down their device and then comes switches it on, and then there is a notification, it should just come up. Otherwise, if it is expired, it will never come up. So this is as easy as sending a push notification. Of course, there are some lines of code that you would have to put in your client application, that is your mobile app. And then if there is a push notification enabled, the devices is where you will see all the devices that are connected to your application. are using your application on their device. And email, so this is something interesting, so let me talk a little bit about this. So as you can see here, you will see now a couple of email templates. So we have already kept reset password email, password changed email, welcome email, verify account email. So verify account email is actually sent when you're using Telerik Backend as a service and you create a new user. Our backend platform will automatically send an email to them with a verification code. So the template itself is fairly simpler. It says, hey, hi, you, and then whatever you see here is a mustache or the handlebar syntax. It's a placeholder, so the data for this is going to come at runtime. Like for example, if I'm creating a new user and the user has a display name, so it will show hi Lohit, if that's what has been given, and then thank you for registering to. It will say to do backend because that's the name of the project that we are on. Like to do background, and then it will automatically generate the verify account URL. If you cannot click this, blah blah blah, and then it will also send the plain text also. And then welcome email is when somebody gets a verify account email, clicks on the verify account email, and then that's when they're they're verified, and then they will get the welcome email. So it says thank you for joining, application title Lohit, your application, your account was created successfully, best wishes, the application, blah blah blah. So this is just a template that you're doing, but at runtime you can send these emails. And password changed email, so if somebody changed the password, you can actually send them back. And the reset password, you can provide a link which says remove forgot password, and then do this. Of course, logs, whatever you do, we keep writing a logs at the back end. You can also write your own log when you do the cloud code. So I'll come back to that. So now let's come back to types. So this is the most interesting part here. So when I say types, it's basically we allow you to create custom type now. So you can create any custom type that you want. The files, user, roles, these are all predefined out of the box system tables, per se. Now I can just come back here and then say I can say I'm going to call this as the table name as to do, okay, and I will just add a column which is to do text. So that's a text, and then I will say completed, and I'm going to say yes, no, and let's keep this much for the demo just to prove the point. So I have a to do text, and then I have this completed yes or no kind of things. So I'm going to say so, and then not only that, so as you can see, we already give you this columns out of the box. The ID created at, modified at, created by, modified by owner. These are predefined columns. You cannot modify. So as you can see here, these do not have a delete icon, whereas the columns that you created have the delete icon. So I can just come back, delete, and then all those things. So this is the custom column that I added. We allow you. We need all these audit columns at any point of time, so we don't allow you to delete it. So now that's it. My backend is done. So so as you can see now, there's no item now for me, right? So that's because we just created it. So previously when I said I told you about the data browser, the structure, the cloud code, and the permission. So let me take a moment to talk about permissions now. So I've created a table now. Now I need to provide permissions on this table, right? Who can read, who can write, who can delete, update, or whatever. So as of now, what I've said is I don't care about my permissions. So it's public, meaning anybody can. So if you see here, these are the types of permissions that we provide. So hang on. So I didn't. Yeah, so that's correct. So we provide 4 types of permissions. Private, meaning you read yours and write yours only. Shared, read all but write yours. Public, read all and write all. So anybody can just, any authenticated or unauthenticated users can just write into this particular table. Read only, read all but write none. So these are the 4 types of permissions we provide on any content type. So I can just come back here and then say this is shared, or I can say this is private, or I can say this is read only, or I can say this is a role based, and then there you go. So if you see here, when I say role based, it gives me granular control, meaning when I say this table permission is role based, there are, as of now, there are only 3 types of roles now. The owner, the guy who created it, so he can do everything, right? Because he's the one. Anonymous, so as of now, since it's public or anonymous, basically I've given it all. Registered users can also do this. So you can decide what you want to do. You can say, hey, you know what, this is role based. Anonymous, I don't want to give anything. Owner, yes, he can do anything. Registered, yes, they can do anything. If you have another role, you can say, okay, this role can only read. If you have another role, you can say that role can only write. So it's up to you, but we give you complete granular permissions on the cloud. Okay, mind you, this is all still in the cloud. So now what I'm going to do is just to kind of set things up. I'm going to go inside the content type called to do, and then I'm going to create maybe 1 or 2 items now in the portal itself. So I'm going to say to do text. This is task 1. I will save it. So they are not completed. You can see completed now. So I will say task 2 and maybe task 3. Just to get us, get started. Now we will switch gears and then we'll go back to, our developing a client for this. So that is just a simple HTML page. If you remember, I showed you the downloads, right? So what I've done is beforehand, I have gone ahead and downloaded this particular JavaScript SDK. If you see here, so this is available in our, if you come to platform.telerik.com and then downloads backend services, you will get to download all these things. So what I've done is I've already created empty ASP.NET web application, and I've gone ahead and then downloaded Bootstrap, jQuery, and then also I've downloaded our SDK, which is everlive.all.mean.js. In the interest of the time, what I've done is I've created some bare bone things. So I'll show you what the bare bones are. So my idea is now I've just created a to-do. Remember, so what I want to do is I want some user to just log in before he uses the to-do. So I have created a login screen. Let's say he doesn't have a credential, so he wants to register. So I will click on register. So what will happen is there will be a register screen coming up. He can sign up with the display name, email, username, password, and then register. So let me keep this guy on this side, and I'll open my portal on the right hand side. So let me go to the users. So what we have to do is, I've already written some amount of code, but I haven't written anything for this register. So we have to write this register functionality. So let's go back to the code. So it's a basic bare minimum, thing. So now I have to handle the register. So what I will do is I'll come back here, and then my button name is known as btn register. Let me increase my font maybe a little bit. So my function name is known as btn register.click, and I'm going to say, okay, execute a function called as register. So what we're going to do in register is I'm going to say function register e, and since it's a form submit, I don't want to submit the form, so I will say e.prevent default, and then I have 4 things that I have to capture for the registration. So that is username, password, email, display name. Okay. So now here's the thing. So first thing that we need to do is we need to create this object called as everlive. If somebody is kind of wondering what this everlive is, I just said Telerik Backend. So everlive used to be our code name for Telerik Backend, and it's going to be there as the everlive object, but the business name or the the business aspect is Telerik Backend. So that's the actual business name. So now one thing I need to do is I need to go back to my portal and then get my key. So what I will do is I think I had copied. So let's see if it is still there. No, I just copied the code now. So okay, let me copy this. I'm going to copy that, put it here. So that's it. So now this is done. So I'll show you how easy it is to register a user now. So correct. So I have taken down all the 4 properties that I need. Now in order to register, it's as simple as calling el.users, and notice that we have IntelliSense. Okay, hang on, let me show you that. I need to do a live zoom now. Control 4. Okay, I'll show you this. So when I say el dot, you see this? We give you complete IntelliSense in the Visual Studio. So you just have to say users dot register, and then first thing that you need to pass is username, and then password, and then any additional. So for example, the email and then the email and display name are additional data that I'm passing. So I will say email, and then I will say display name colon display name. So that's all. That's all it takes to register a user. Of course, what should happen when it's a success? So I'm going to say, okay, when it's a success, I want to do something like this. I want to show to-do list, and I'm coming from a registration screen. So I'm just going to pass this so that I will be able to hide that. So function, I need to handle error. So maybe we will say, like, for now, let's not get deep into what should be done. So I will just say alert, error registering user. Okay, you can then later show maybe the error, all those things. So let's go ahead and then try to implement this show to-do list, or I'll tell you what the show to-do list does for now. So yeah, so the show to-do list, what it does is, for now, let me just do this. I have a to-do list div, and then it's just going to collapse the registration, the login, and then just show to-do list div if the registration was a successful. Okay, so now let me go back to my screen here, and then I'll refresh this again, and I will have this guy on this right hand side, and I'm opening the users on the right hand side. So now since I have to register, right, so I'll go ahead and say I want to register. So it will say display name, I will say test user 1, and then email, I'll just provide my I need to open up my Outlook, just give me a second, so that it sends an email now. So, and then username, I'll just say test user 1, and then password, some password I can remember for the demo. So when I click register, if it was a success, what will happen is it will go to a div which says to-do list. So I have clicked on the register button. Let's give it a couple of seconds, or let me see if there's any error that I've made. Yeah, I think it's already created. No. Let me check what's happening. Yeah, I think it is created, but why didn't it go to my div? Show to-do list, element to hide. I have passed. Oh, okay, I know, I made a mistake. So this was DV capital R, so it couldn't find. Sorry about that. So let's see. I'll show you the email that came to me. So remember, I've given it as test user 1. So I'm opening up. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see here, thank you for joining To-Do Backend Test User 1. Your To-Do Backend account was created successfully. So that's a welcome email. And then I still haven't done anything with my, the verification. So it will say, thank you for registering to the backend. To complete your registration and verify your email, please use the following address. So now, my demo flopped because I made a mistake, but it has already gone ahead and then created the user. But my code should have took me back to the the showing the to-do list, but that's not a problem. So let me refresh this back to set it into so now the scenario is user as, I think somebody is saying voice is not clear, so sorry about that. My system is overloaded, so the audio would get chopped up sometimes. So I hope now it should be okay. So now the scenario is I've done with my registration. What I need to do is I need to log in now, right? I'm done with the registration, so I need to provide a login. So what I will do is I will provide a login. So I have a button called BDN login. So I will say, hey, when the button is clicked, I want you to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and then do like function login. Let's get the event because we need to prevent default. And then what we need to do is, I know I have two items to grab. So that is password and then the username for login. And then this is how you do it for logging in. There you go, el.users.login, username, password, and then I'm just saying show to-do list div login. So meaning it will hide the login div, and then it will show the to-do item list. And then function, if there's an error, I can just do an alert. So let me save that, and then let me come back here, and I'll do a refresh for the page. Remember, I gave the username as test user 1. And then password, something that I can remember, and then I'm going to say sign in. There you go. I just logged in now. Okay, so if you're thinking did it really go and then come back, so I can actually do that again. So I can show you the network calls. So let's refresh this page again, and then we'll do the signing up again, so logging in again. So let me clear whatever was there. Okay, now keep looking at the bottom. You will see some URLs going to our backend. So I will say ABC 1, 2, 3. There you go. So we went to API everlive.com v1 with this OAuth, and then we have got the token. So basically what is happening under the hood is, we're just doing an OAuth authentication, and then the platform will send back a token, and the token is going to be a bearer token. And let me show you that. Yeah, there you go. So if you see here, we just got back an access token. Every request from now onwards would need to have this token in the header as authorization, and then the token type is a bearer, and the principal ID, all those things are there. So all we do from now onwards is the SDK will make sure that it's going to use this token for any further communication that I'm going to do. Okay, so next thing that we want to do is, we want to remember we have put already around 3 items. Okay, let me refresh this users on the platform. I'll show you that it is created. So there you go. The test user 1 with the display name test space user space 1. The email is kashipa78@hotmail.com. Registered, everlive, no. I didn't click on the verification email, so it says verified no. So that's correct. So now let's take a look at the to do. So as you know, already has 3 items, right? Task 1, task 2, and task 3. So what we're going to do now is, once somebody get authenticated, we would have to bring back the to-do items from the server. As you can see, 1, 2, and 3, nothing has been completed, all those things. So now what I'm going to do is, remember we were showing a show to-do list function. So there, I'm going to go ahead and then say, when the to-do list div is shown, I want to load this particular the items from the server. So what we're going to do is, we'll say function, and then I'll show you how easy it is to do a load. So first thing that we need to do is, we know there is a table called as to do on the server side. So all you need to do is, you just have to say el.data. So I need this particular data type. And how do you get everything? You just say data.get. Notice that we also have get and then get by ID. So if you know a particular ID, you can actually say give me only that ID. And then when I say get, we also support promises. So you can just say, hey, after you're done with getting, I want you to do this. So what I want you to do is, I want you to grab hold of the to-do.com is actually a JSON string. So I will just say json.parse. And I will stringify this JSON. Okay, so now I have a complete JSON of this. So I know what is the div that will show this data. What I'm showcasing here can be done in many different ways. Like, you can use an MVVM framework like Kendo UI and then do templating, do data binding, everything. But I just want to keep it very simple and then showcase how easy it is to do it. So I will just clear whatever the HTML the div has, and then I'm going to create a HTML out. Basically I'm going to create a string now. So what I want to do is I want to iterate through each div, each item that I get back. Let me remove this guy. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to iterate through each item that I get and then create a simple div with the input checkbox and checked if it is done. Otherwise just show the text that was there. Okay, and then I'm going to append it to this one, and then we need to provide function error. As of now, let's not worry, we'll just keep it like this. So now what we just did was we said I need to get all data from this table called to do. So you just invoke get method, and then the then is a promise like I will execute when the previous call is done. So we support that too in our SDK. So in the then I'm writing a function where I just say, okay, grab the data. I know it has a result which is an array of the items, and I want to loop through that, and then each item I want to output a particular HTML to come out. So now when I go back here and then refresh, and then it will give me the starting page. So I have not done the session persistence and all those things, but that's okay. So when I say sign in, there you go. The demo worked. So remember we had task 1, task 2 and task 3 on the server side, so it has already brought that down. So now what I want to do is I want to create a new to do from this UI, meaning from here when I type something, what do you want to do here, complete our webinar demo creation. And then when I click on add button, I want the to do to be created at the server side, and then I want it to be updated here also. So what I will do is now I'm going to go ahead. I have a button called as button add to do. So here it needs a function called as create to do item. So I'm going to just copy paste. In the interest of the time, we are already at the end of the fourth hour. I think it's going to be close to 4 p.m. now. So what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing the txt to do text, and then again I just say el.data to do. I want that data item, and then this is as easy it can get. You just call create, and then pass the JSON object string that you want. This is the JSON object, and then I'm saying when it is done, meaning the creation is being done. Just clear out the text box and then load the to-do list again. Remember what will happen now? It will go, it will pretty much grab everything from the server and then get it. And then function error. So that's all it will do. So now let's go ahead and then do that. Let's refresh. So I'm going to say test user 1 and then password. And then it goes to to-do list. And I will say webinar demo creation, and then I'll click on add. There you go, it got added. So if you don't believe me, so let's go, then let's refresh it now. Voila, so you see this, it's already done. So I can actually come back here and then change this. So meaning I'm just saying edited. So I'll say in the portal I just did a edited. So let me go back to the front end. Of course, sorry for this. I didn't do the implementation in such a way that I could cache the user ID password. So every time I refresh it, I have to enter it. So that's not a problem. So if you see here, see this edited, and then the checkbox is checked. Meaning, don't go by the UI. It was very simple UI that I want to do. So the checkbox means it's done. So I just went to the backend and they said completed. So I just did that. So this is how you can do work with the backend using the the web, the JavaScript SDK. Now let me quickly show you guys how you can do this in HTML. The C#. We have .NET SDK. Remember I showcased you that we also have the .NET SDK. So let me close my Visual Studio, otherwise my system will get overboard. So I'm just trying opening up my another Visual Studio where I have the console application done, which will be talking to the same to-do item, but it's going to be doing it through the .NET console. So just give me a second. So let's go back and then look at maybe the where did the downloads go? So here the .NET. We have the .NET SDK, so we have 4.0 as well as 4.5. 4.5 will support your await and async pattern. So it's as simple as, again, putting the key, the API key. What happened to my Visual Studio? It didn't come up. Just give me a second. My Visual Studio is still launching. And then working with C# with SDK is pretty straightforward. All Fluent methods, you can just go keep chaining it, like, app, work with, authentication, login. This is the username, password, and then await, app.work with, data, get all, execute, async. So my Visual Studio is coming up. Let's give it a moment. So it's 3:56. Let me see if there are any questions. So time. Maybe in the meantime, I can tell you guys how we did the same. This is how the same backend, but we have done a hybrid mobile application. So let's show you that. So I already gone ahead and then I have a mirror of this particular backend. So what we have done is when I reload, so this is actually a hybrid mobile application, which is talking to the same. I can actually. Okay, let me get the API key again. What I have to do is already create a mobile app. So I'll do all the mechanisms of application. So now when I see that, so here is what is the same. Then I have the functionality to mobile. I have filtering going on. There I say alt active. I can so now I can do the cancel, or I can do an add, like add from here. All those things. Save, and you will see like test from app. So I can reload. You will see that then I now come back to our. Okay, I shut down the app. So now, so that's a hybrid mobile app, but it's using the same SDK, the JavaScript SDK. So this is a mobile app. Now I can actually come back here and then say, hey, show me how this runs in Android phone. You will see like it's the same. So I can package it and then put it on Android phone. So this is my to-do thing, all those stuff. Now here is a interesting thing that I've done. So this is a .NET console application. Okay, so in the .NET console application, the first thing that we would need to do is create a POCO class similar to what the columns are in the table. So remember, we created the column as to do. So you can name the class name as the same. Otherwise, we have attributes where you can say, the server name is actually different, but the C# class name is different. So you can do that too. But you would need to inherit from our thing called as data item, because the data item would provide some amount of backend, some placeholders. As you can see here, the created by, modified by, owner, modified art. So there are a lot of things that this provides. So that's why we want you to inherit from the data item. And then similar, this is a console application. So what I've done is I created a static variable called as EL, and then the access token, all those things. And then let's go ahead and then maybe do complete things. So this is how you do registering an user. So if you see here, if you see the register user, this is as simple as it can get. I'm just creating this user. This is a object which is available as part of our SDK. So it contains display name, username, password. So I've done that. And then this is all you do. You el.work with .users .create execute sync. That's all you do. Okay. And then logging in a user, you just say login, the username, password. You can do an asynchronous execution. I just wrote it as execute sync because I'm in a console app now. So I just want to do that way. And then I'm going to go and then get all the data. So this is one line in which you can get everything. That is el.work with data. This is the type, get all, and execute. And then for each item, I'm just looping and then putting into the console. So let's see what is happening. So let me run now. It's building. So if you see here, it's actually now registering a user by the name of test user2 with some password. So it's going to go register this user on our portal on the back end, come back. As you can see, the registration is done. Okay, I didn't change the API key, so let me just quickly change the API key. So that's why you're seeing the old thing. So I just have to change this API. So let me quickly grab the API key and come back here, put it. Okay, changes are not allowed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out the registering, because we are already done. So let me show you that the user is actually created. So if I go to the users, you'll see it's created on the other things. Okay, that's fine. So we can come back here because I changed the API key, so it has gone ahead and created test user 2 on somewhere else. So now it's going to, when I run back again, it's going to create it in the same, whatever we have been working on the back end. So it's a little confusing when I have two API keys going around. So now let's see. So let me zoom it for you guys. So now it's going into my backend and then doing a registration. Test user 2, it will come back creating, and then it will log in, meaning it will authenticate the same user which is created. There you go, it's done, and there you go. Task 1, task 2, task 3, webinar demo creation, test from app. So if you see, I just created test from app in a hybrid application. I created task 1, task 2, task 3 in the portal. I created webinar demo creation edited in the in the web app. So this is how you can use pretty quickly, fastly. You can create your apps faster. You create your app easier. Of course, there's no question of scalability from your side, because everything will be taken care by Telerik on our platform. So you don't have to worry. All you need to worry is what is the schema that I want, and that's it. Just design the schema. The service is available. The SDKs are available. We would love to have you guys play around with that. Tell us what is kind of problems that you have or issues you are facing, or do you like it? So send us some feedback saying like, okay, you might want to do this way. So that is all I had for today. As I said, it's already 4. I don't want to keep everybody waiting. Maybe we'll have one more separate webinar on files, the cloud code, and then the push notification, all those things. We can probably have another, maybe a dedicated session on push notifications with Telerik platforms. So with that, I pretty much have done with my webinar. So that's a brief intro about how you can use the Telerik platform. So let me close down this. So let me come back to my slide. So that's what API, JavaScript, SDK. So we also have SDK. So if you don't want to use any SDK and you want to play the raw things, so we have a REST API for available for this, and then .NET SDK, iOS SDK, Android SDK. So that's the demo that we saw. To know more about this, what you can do is you can always sign up platform.telerik.com and docs.telerik.com/platform/backend services. So that's the documentation on backend service itself. As I said, it's actually 4 pillars. Let me go back to the portal, and then I didn't show you guys this. So now we should see test user 2. There you go. You see test user 2 coming here. So I created test user 2 from a console application. Then so that's the and then if I go back to just remember that today we talked about one pillar, that's the backend, but the Telerik platform is actually 4 pillars. The backend, the database, the app builder. So that's what I just showed you here. So this is the app builder. It allows you to create the hybrid mobile application. It's a complete IDE for developing the hybrid mobile app. So here you have I can simulate or I can readily build for Android or iOS right from this particular app builder. And you can work with Bitbucket as or a GitHub. So we allow integration with Bitbucket or GitHub. So you just go create a repo and then kind of integrate from here. Work with collaborate from here. So that's the app builder. And analytics is an interesting piece where we didn't take a look at it. Maybe we'll have, we have one more demo, actually webinar in a coming couple of weeks, where we're going to talk about analytics in detail. So it lets you instrument your apps to collect analytical data, like how many times my app was used, how many times my screen 1 was opened, screen 2 was opened, what time of the day is my app being used, from which location of the earth is my app being used. So we give you all those statistical analytical information. And mobile testing. So this 4 makes up Telerik platform. Today we looked at the backend as a service. Thank you very much for all those of you who have been sticking around. I know I'm 8 minutes overboard. I'm going to stop recording now and then get on to the question and answers. So thank you very much for being with us.